Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in to Anfield Road TV. It's me and Nigel this evening. Hopefully we'll be joined by a couple of the other lads as well. If not, then it's us two. Nigel, how are we, mate?
Not so bad, not so bad.
You've had it was your day off today, wasn't it?
Yep, had a day off, yeah. Didn't do an awful lot. No travelling, so that was good.
That's good. All good.
Yeah.
And chat. Anyone watching on the repeat as well, do get all your comments in on today's episode anyway. We're going to speak about Benzo, a bit of Calvin Ramsey as well. Obviously, the main talking point will be Jordan Henderson as well in terms of that discussion, the whole bloody scenario, the fiasco that is hopefully not going to turn into an even longer saga. And swiftly resolved very quickly for all included as well. But let's get to everyone's comments as well. If you are live, get your comments in as well. Big up there, Wiggs. Big up Shay as well. Evening. Hope you're well, mate. Big up Redbeard and big up Panel as well. But we'll get straight into the first one as well, mate. And if you are watching on the repeat chat or if you are watching on the live, make sure you do smash that like button as well. Massively helps out the YouTube algorithm, gets it out to more Reds from around the globe as well. Big up Lavanya, big up matey. Keep on getting your comments in as well, chat. We'll feature them all as well. But Nigel, I wanted to do this show tonight anyway in relation to just because it doesn't really sit right with me. I think all of us, every Liverpool fan knows the situation we all find ourselves in relation to the pecking order, in relation to Jordan Henderson, Nigel. But for me, it doesn't sit right. The fact that this is the Liverpool captain, the way it panned out in the press, really, I personally would have liked to have seen it handled from a PR perspective, everyone included, Liverpool, Henderson, Jurgen Klopp. He still hasn't released a statement as well, Nigel. Let's put that to the record as well. He could save himself in a couple of weeks, just say it was a load of paper nonsense if he doesn't go. But Nigel, from your perspective, how have you analysed how this has all filtered through to the press over the last week or 2 weeks, really, mate?
Yeah, I don't think it's been handled very well. We've had, it suddenly came kind of jumping out in the news that this crowd want Henderson, and then they suddenly want him for nothing, and we're wanting a kind of a 10 million plus or whatever for him. But
where do you think that's come from, Nigel? Do you think that's a case in point? The buying club contacting Henderson saying, can you manoeuvre a situation or a scenario to very much rear its head at the football club or internally to make it an easier, a bigger transition? But for me, if that is the case, mate, that's shocking. If he is potentially going to be engineered and that in the next week or two,
it shouldn't really be allowed. You know that the buying club is kind of dictating terms for a player, to the club that holds his contract.
Yeah,
I really don't. Yeah, I agree with you. It's not been handled well, and I don't think he's handled it well himself. He was always kind of very upfront with stuff. He'd come out and he'd defend players, and if there was somebody got in a fight, I remember the time your man, the Chelsea guy, the Elephant Man, what's his name, Costa, came and stood in front of one of our players. He was the first man up and in his face, and you're not getting at my players. That was always, that's kind of a good legacy for me, for Jordan Henderson, a leader, a guy who's going to stand up to people and be the first man in line for the club and the face of the club and stuff like that. I know he gets a lot of haters, but as far as his leadership goes, there should be no haters. He's been brilliant in that respect.
Yeah, that's why it just doesn't sit right to me, mate, as you've alluded to. It doesn't seem, in terms of his character as a professional footballer as well. And we know in terms of obviously the Saudi clubs, the way they do deals, by all accounts, listen to all the very well-respected journalists over the last couple of months anyway, the Saudi clubs seem to contact the players' representatives, the agents first and foremost, before any potential deal. It seems like it's a potential strategy from the buying clubs from Saudi to very much disrupt the momentum and like all of us, mate, you, me, everyone in chat, probably if someone rang you in any job or whatnot, like, and offered you like 4 times, 5 times, whatever your salary. The thing, especially today or the last couple of days as well, Nigel, is in case of points as well, chat, is that supposedly if a deal is to, we say supposedly, rumours are quite rife in the last couple of days anyway. It will be interesting to see how it does pan out. But in terms of potentially Henderson sacrificing quite a large percentage of that supposed 700, 600, 500k a week wage to very much sanction a potential fee, Nigel, and this is why it doesn't sit well with me as well, chat.
Yeah.
And
I'm just wondering,
where's it come about that they can get him for a free?
I don't know. Is he being disappointed? Maybe, there's a lot of rumor going around that Klopp had a talk with him last week saying he won't be starting as much if he stayed. Is it related to that? Is it coming down to a point where he wants to just play football and that he's ready to take a wage cut and play rather than stay at Liverpool and sit on a bench? I'm not overly fond of that. Like he's a better player than that Saudi league, and one of these guys, one of these teams that doesn't have the backing. Yeah, the backing doesn't have the backing of the sheiks. Is he going to be like? It's nearly like a sacrificial lamb.
It's well, we've seen the football club, haven't we, Nigel, and chat over the last couple of months anyway, in relation to in terms of contracts. If you want to read the rumours the last couple of months ago, supposedly Liverpool offered Naby a contract, probably only to protect his his valuation as a player. Big up Rickard, bring it in a little second, matey. 1 sec. There we go. There we go. Hello. All right, lad.
All right, Ricky.
What's this layout about, mate?
So good. Yeah, you go in position.
Get my head in this screen, mate.
All good, mate. We'll get Ricky's points, obviously, thoughts on that, mate. But in relation to, I've completely lost track anyway, but we'll get to comments anyway. I'll try and remember what I was saying. Big up there. Everyone's smashing it. Make sure you are smashing that like button as well, everyone. 18 of you's in. There should be 18 likes in on the video already. If there's not, do your work, chat. You know what to do. But big up there. If Hendo stays, do you think he should stay as captain? That's a great point, Redbeard, and we very much will touch on that, mate. I'll write that down anyway. Should stay. Because you know what I'm like, chat, anyway, captain. And I'll ask both lads and anyone really. Hopefully Dave potentially might be jumping on as well, Luke or whatnot. But great question there, Redbeard. That's what we all want to discuss as fans anyway. Big up Shay, big up Scouse. How are we, matey? Big up Jen as well. Hope you're well. And you've all had a great week. But in terms of wigs, if it comes out and says something at the minute, he's going to get hate either way. I know he's been below par with the age kicking in, but the hate he gets is absolutely ridiculous as well. He's always had that, mate, Wiggs, even when he was a young lad coming from Sunderland. Large sections about the Anfield faithful as well. Similar with Lucas Leive, there was always sections in every fan base, really. Even if Henderson won the bloody quad, there'd still be people criticising. But as I said at the top of the show, we all know from a footballing capacity, Henderson playing in that midfield for Liverpool is a no-go now. He's not capable of doing what he used to do really well in that Liverpool team anyway. Amateur move trying to get him for free. Big up there, but it is, mate. It is. It smacks belief, really, in all honesty. Endo, for his own sake, if he stays, should maybe step down from his role as captain and pass it on to someone else as well. Evening, Henry. Hope you're well. But we'll quickly rattle through all these comments as well. Keep on getting them in, chat. If you've got any questions, we'll ask, and I'll ask you, chat, as well. Should Jordan Henderson continue as captain in a little second? But, Rick, how have you analysed this, Ricky, in relation to, for me, I was saying with Nigel then, for me, it's disgusting the way it's panned out, really, in terms of the way it's leaked, supposedly, in recent weeks to the press. How have you analysed this, really, from your point of view, mates?
weird. I think the whole situation weird. I think, me personally, I think Henderson's thrown his toys out of his pram. He obviously had talks with Jurgen Klopp, and Klopp's obviously told him minutes are going to be reduced for him this season. He'll be taking up the sort of James Milner role that was there before. And let's not forget, Henderson's thrown his toys out of his pram before. He did it in 2021 when the new deal was being talked about for him, because there was talks of it was only going to be a 2-year deal. Then he threw his toys out of his pram, got a 3-year deal and more money. I still stick by someone in Henderson's camp has told this Saudi Arabian team they could potentially get him for free. Because where else would it have come from? But for the sake of the club and Henderson, I do hope he leaves now. I think there's no turning back from this whole situation. And if he does end up staying, the armband needs to come straight off of his arm.
Yeah, it's... I just ask you as well, from the club point of view, mates, like, I feel... And that's the thing, innit? That's why I said at the top of the show, he's not come out and actually publicly said anything, mate.
No.
That is almost like in any form of media. That's actions speak louder than words, really. The lack of action, really, to me, very much indicates that this is almost a foregone conclusion. But he's left himself a little bit of leg room, really, Ricky, and in terms of give it another 4 or 5 weeks. If it doesn't happen, then he can come out and say a public statement on his Instagram or socials and get his agent to very much come out and say it was a lot of media talk, and it'll be like nothing really happens, really, for you, Rick. I don't know.
Yeah, it ain't coming from him directly. It's obviously coming from his team, his agent, his agency, his management, and whatnot. It's just you're never going to get the whole truth from when a player leaves or anything like that. But I hope we just move this on quickly. There's rumours today that he's willing to take a slight reduction in financial wages with this new team so that they can facilitate a transfer fee. Listen, how did Liverpool end up negotiating with the brokest Saudi Arabian team going? I mean, they've got a £13 million budget, and we found them. We found that team.
Yeah.
But, like I said, I still stick by someone in Henderson's camp has leaked some stuff to this team to come to the table.
It's shocking, really, mate. I'm disappointed in everyone, really, in terms of the club. And it probably will come out. I know for a fact it will, probably after this video or whatnot. Something will probably come out in the next couple of hours, next 48 hours, that Henderson will be probably wanting to fight for his place anyway. Because, as I said, I know on the title it's quite drastic, really, but in relation to all the hard work, Nigel, that Henderson has done for the last 12 years at the football club, every doubter he's turned into a believer is very much come back to a doubter again now. Like it's disappointing, and well, he's the captain of the football club. Let's not forget, lads, as well. The captain of the football club allowing this situation to pan out like it has, Nigel. He needs to take at least some responsibility in the matter, even if it's a public statement on a social media account as well. Like, because we've got videos like we're speaking about tonight. The more that this lingers in the air, the way it presents itself as well, the more hearsay, the more speculation will get it very much day after day get brought up on every single occasion, mate.
Absolutely. I was just having a thought there. When you were talking to Ricky about the captaincy thing, I'm just wondering, has Klopp said to him that now that you're not going to be getting a lot of game time, we're taking the armband? Is that a possibility? You know, I would have to think it is. If he's not going to get a lot of game time, we're going to need somebody that's going to wear the armband on the field for the majority of the time, for like 70, 80 minutes of a game. And he's going to be on for maybe 10 minutes. So I think that's an option as well, and that may have. You don't need that. You need big billboard.
Yeah. No, you're spot on there, Nigel. Stand aside, but yeah, just for Wiggs, just for a little quick second. There we go, Wiggs. There you go, big picture. There you go. Happy days. Nigel's spot on there for me, Ricky, and I think he speaks very more or less for all of us as well. Like, do you think that that conversation is being uttered by Jurgen Klopp? It surely has to be. Like, there's that many leaders in that dressing room first and foremost that. For me, if I'm someone in that changing room, hence why it was quite at it, and from my title, if I was a player in that dressing room, I'd be like, you cheeky sod. You cheeky so-and-so. Like, who do you think you are? Even if he is captain, Ricky, like, there's ways to act. Like, say in other football clubs, Ricky, you get away with that, but not Liverpool.
100%. Like, if he did end up staying, I could see the Maguire situation at Liverpool with Man United. He would remain club captain, but obviously he won't be on the picture. Van Dijk will be the game-to-game captain, but obviously Henderson will remain club captain till whatever situation pans out. But I'm hoping by the end of this week he'll go. Fab will be gone. Listen, I'm gutted for Fabinho's game because I think we're in massive trouble if Fabinho goes. People can say what they want to say about Fabinho last season. I was looking forward to seeing him play with two decent midfielders with him this season. We're letting him go. Decent money coming back. We're obviously getting our money back for him. But the names that are coming out as replacements to Fabinho, I'd rather keep Fabinho.
You know what's going to happen as well, though, lads in chat, don't you? If Liverpool don't fill the gaps with adequate quality, we'll have another 6 months like we did last season where we are getting frustrated, which is understandable. If results don't pick up next season, like they did at the back end of last season, but let's not forget where we were 6 months into last season anyway. And we are getting disgruntled at very young players. Stefan Bajcetic, 19, 20 years old anyway. Are we 18? Are we anticipating, Ricky, him to mount a title-winning, challenging season? I'd love it to happen. I think we all would. But
he's not 6.
Well, yeah, 6/8 anyway. Like it's a lot of pressure, and I get people will counteract that with Nigel, with, as Ricky said there, and certain other young players. And we will be speaking about obviously the likes of Ben Doak, Calvin Ramsey as well, the long-term future. But in today's episode, but it's such a massive pressure, and everyone will go, "Oh, you're at Liverpool. There's always going to be a pressure." But then again, it was Hendo getting stick. It was Curtis Jones getting stick. If results aren't going the way it is, we know the way in which the world is in terms of social media.
I think for the most part, when Bajcetic was playing well, he had the experienced heads alongside him. I fully 100% agree with Ricky. I don't like the Fabinho thing at all. I really don't. I think he's I think with especially with the 2 guys we're after buying, and maybe with another 1 or 2, that Fabinho could have been back to his best again and just not having to run. We forced Thiago to run. We forced Fabinho to play centre back. We forced Henderson to play centre back. We forced these guys to run. We forced Bajcetic to run at 19 years old on a full Premier League schedule, 4 or 5 games. All these guys got injured, and we ended up like massively down. And that was like that was 2 seasons ago, and we suffered for it last season badly for it because these lads hadn't got proper pre-seasons under their belts, hadn't got proper games under their belt, and this lack of squad it's really, really frustrating.
Yeah, this squad for me, and lads and chat, let us know, it looks great on the outside, but it's extremely paper thin.
Yeah,
like absolutely. That defense is on so small margins. With a Canate injury away, with an Ibu, Canate, Virgil van Dijk or Gomez injury, and then there's talk about Nat Phillips leaving the football club as well. Good luck. If we sell him, he's never whinged one bit, Nat Phillips. Fair enough to the fella. He's getting paid a big wedge. But him and Origi were exceptional. Shame that obviously Jordan Henderson couldn't have taken a leaf out of those two lads' books anyway. I'm pretty sure Origi and pretty sure Nat Phillips over the last couple of years have wanted to leave the football club. I don't think we had any in relation to the stories in which we've had in the last couple of weeks. Like saying, like, supposedly Jano's getting briefed. Brief from where? Like, as Ricky said, is it the camp of Jordan Henderson's agent, or like who is letting slip of this wind? If it is true, then that just goes to show the type of demeanour really that Henderson is currently. But as we said, money does change people very quickly, as we know. It does turn heads, sadly. Obviously, there was a question that I wanted to bring up anyway. Big up there, Drew. Thoughts on the Gerrard situation, and you can very much counterbalance it as well. As I said, we'll always speak about football and footballing terms anyway, in all honesty. But Gerrard, and that's hence why Drew is called Ricky. For me, I don't think he went to the MLS. I think a lot of the lads are mentioning as well. It's difficult, and we'll try and keep politics out of it, really. But at the end of the day, they've gone for the paycheck, really. Like, and fair play to them. I don't begrudge them for going for the paycheck. But it's, as we were speaking to Nigel, the campaigns in which Jordan Henderson is very much being the forefront of it. This ties in really to why I think, say, obviously with the LBG and everything, really, like he was the leading light in the Premier League, the captain's captain as well. And I can understand where people are coming from as well. Like it doesn't destroy his legacy really in terms of that, but I think people have been very much let down in certain situations as well.
Do you know what bugs me the most? Why anyone cares what Steven Gerrard does now? It's nothing to do with Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah.
Let's get that. He played for Liverpool, legend for Liverpool lad, but he has got absolutely nothing to do with Liverpool Football Club. So we need to remember that he's not a Liverpool employee. He's not a Liverpool player no more.
There's a fascination amongst the fan base to think that he's going to instantly get the Liverpool job anyway. For me, he should be nowhere near Liverpool Football Club anyway. Imagine him coming in and absolutely destroying Klopp's last 5-6 years of work anyway. He's never getting the Liverpool job purely off the back of that Aston Villa campaign.
He was heavily back there. He spent a lot of money there. He had some very good players at Aston Villa. He flopped. Yeah. He managed Rangers in a 2-team league, and obviously got the better of the other big team over there, which happens. He's never getting that Liverpool job. We need to stop this fascination with Steven Gerrard, and we need to listen. Any person cannot tell me if Saudi Arabia come and offered you 700,
or 600, anyone for that matter, anyone
500 grand a week, you would turn it down. Why would you turn it down?
Go ahead, Nigel. All right, Luke.
I'd just like to agree with Ricky there. It kind of compares to the Souness situation when Souness went to Scotland to manage Rangers, and they spent absolute fortunes and ended up getting the club disbanded for the amount of money that they spent over the years trying to better Celtic. They won 9 league titles in a row, mostly under Souness. He came down and absolutely ripped the guts out of Liverpool in 1992. Sold Peter Beardsley to Everton for 1.1 million. The biggest transfer mistake in Liverpool history. With the possible exception of Jimmy Case going too early, I have to say. But anybody that wasn't around to see what Souness did, as good a player as he was, I still reckon he's the best midfield player I've ever seen at Liverpool. He absolutely ripped the guts out of Liverpool in 1992.
Yeah.
So I don't want that repeated, that situation. Somebody coming down who's below, who's done okay in a league. It's not even a farmers' league. If it's a farmers' wives' league, Scotland. I'm sorry to say. There's some brilliant Scottish footballers over the year, but the league at the moment is just so bad.
Ben Doak will speak about him later anyway, but he's a very talented player.
Yeah, lots of great Scottish players, but that league is a mess. And Rangers spent a lot of money back in the late 80s. Gaza, Terry Butcher, Chris Woods, all those guys that they signed and won lots and lots of things in Scotland.
See,
But
Brian's put it in the chat there. Michael Bill was the man behind Steven Gerrard's success at Rangers.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get to all your comments as well. Keep them getting them in chat as well. But big up Luke. Obviously, both Ricky and Luke are from the 1892 Reds TV. Mods, can you please drop the lads' channel link? Getting them to bloody 1K. Should be already on 1K. And chat, if you haven't already liked the video, smash that like button as well. 32 of yous in. We should have 32 likes. YouTube's free anyway. Smash it. Massively helps out. Gets it out to more Reds anyway. Luke, thank you very much for joining me this evening. As you can see from my title, quite a bit of a mad one. But I'm absolutely fuming. In all honesty, the way in which this whole scenario has very much reared its head, supposedly, by all the reports in the last 48 hours, last week, really. How have you gauged the whole situation, really?
It's just Liverpool Football Club in a nutshell, isn't it? It's the old, I mean, it's just reports after reports every day. Yeah, I mean, I'm just following on for what Nigel said. I fully agree with Souness being potentially at the top of the list of midfield options we've had over the years. But yeah, it's just I'm trying not to stay too negative at the moment, because obviously it's a new season. Obviously, we're looking forward to what we've got coming up in the next few weeks. Obviously, we're pre-season, we're back in action. But Liverpool, I mean, we need to get our act together when it comes to the transfers at the moment, the outgoings. I think they need to be done quickly. I think Fabrizio come out and turned around and said, I think this week it's going to be concluded with Henderson and Fabinho. Hopefully they will be done. And then Liverpool can then obviously look at their own business and try and bring in some players that they need to bring in. But yeah, I mean, as I said, Jack, before, it's Liverpool Football Club. We wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. It happens year in, year out. We're linked with this person. We're linked with that person. There's stories that go out. What can you do?
Yeah, and obviously Ant's mentioned there as well, in terms of matchday programs, the notes as well. We'll never know, Ant, and this is why I wanted to speak to the lads and mainly want to speak to everyone in comments as well. It's difficult, and I'm open. Well, I know for the fact if Jordan's probably not really too arsed, really. Well, I tell you, he cares about the Liverpool fans, but the way in which this is panned out for the last week or two, he just needs to put a statement out tonight, do it. None of your PR nonsense. Don't do a bloody Rashford. Don't do a Rashford where it's good media PR. Release a video, 20-second video. Say if he wants to leave. Say if he doesn't want to leave, Luke. Like, it's if you want to leave, just say it. Just come out and say you want to leave Liverpool. And you just, I think every Liverpool fan would be sound. If you want to go, sound, go. Or do you think he's too scared to very much put that in the public domain, to very much evidence come back on himself now? Because imagine if he'd done that. We've seen it with Sterling, went on bloody BBC, bloody Granada Reports or whatever it was, and then 24 hours later they'd kicked up a fuss. And no, I don't want that at full extent, but it takes 2 seconds to record a video. Like, none of this, no more PR. Everyone is a lot more aware in the media now. Like, we know what's PR. You look at the player interviews after the post-match, it's all like, oh, you can't say this, can't say that. But Luke, he's a big lad. He should be able to come out and say what's what.
I think he's all. I mean, what has he been at the? He's been at the football club what, 12 years?
12 years.
12 years.
Like
he's club captain.
That to him should mean a lot. 12 years. It's not like he's been at the football club for 6 months and it's not really worked out like Naby for like 4 years.
It's the obvious as well, isn't it? Like, I mean, I'm not being funny. Ricky said it earlier, and I agree with him. It's if you're being offered that amount of money, no one's going to turn that. Your head's going to turn. You know, they might get the odd few people. I mean, you've seen it in other sports. I mean, I think Rory McIlroy, I think, is the only one that's come out and said he will not play with Live Golf, and then you've got the others that will go there. You'll get the odd exception, but you can clearly see with Jordan Henderson, he wants to go. And you know what? I think he's come to the stage of his career, as you said. He's been at the club for 12 years. He's club captain. Just show the fans a bit more. Like, what's the word? Show them something at least that you do care about the fans as well. Because, you know, if Jordan Henderson come out tonight or come out tomorrow or come out during the week and turn around and said, I want to leave the football club and obviously I want to pursue a career out there and earn some money, do you know what? Good luck to you. Fair play to you. And I mean, obviously, I can understand if fans will turn around and say that he might ruin his legacy a little bit. Obviously, on the pitch wise, not at all. He won't ruin the legacy at all of what he's done with the football club. But we've seen it before.
It's the way he's remembered, though, Luke.
Exactly.
Like, everyone remembers the way a player always leaves. Like,
and
that is what the last thing that you will think about.
You remember a couple of years ago when they were kicking up a fuss about a new contract, and there was reports about, was he leaving, was he not? And I think he probably kicked up a fuss there as well. So it's not the first time, in all honesty, with Jordan Henderson, to be honest, that we've heard stories around leaving and contracts, etc. But personally, I mean, I know footballers, even if you're captain or not, obviously are basically told not to say certain things. I mean, if anyone watched is it the hot ones they're called with Harry Kane? And Harry Kane actually turned around and said to the guy presenting it, he basically said, as footballers, we're told like we can't say certain things. We all know that as fans, we all know that players can't. But you know what? He's been there 12 years. He's got a great legacy at the football club, whether he leaves or not. And I do believe a little bit, if he doesn't come truthful and honest about the situation, you are going to get a certain part of the fan base that will turn on him quite quickly.
It's disappointing, mate. Like, it's like, as we've already discussed tonight, lads, like himself, the football club, even the buying club as well. Like, it's disappointing, and like, it does me head in, really, mate. It's not beating around the bush anyway. Just do it. Like, it takes. I get like where you're going for, Luke, in terms of the RPR trains, but Christ, how much PR can he absolutely spin in relation to a transfer fee? Like, it's disappointing, really, mate. And I'll get to Hannah's comments. Good comment there as well. Big up there, Hannah. Henderson has 100% agreed that contract as well. But Nigel, the massive elephant in the room is the football club. If a fee's not being agreed, there's still a large section of that transfer deal to be done. It's all right, the club agreeing and Henderson agreeing a contract. If the club, he's got 2 years left. Let's not forget. Like, unless Henderson's going to buy out his contract or something or whatever. And the reports over the last couple of days was he's done a sacrifice, as we said at the top of the show. But let's not forget, for me, this smacks disbelief in relation to the modern day football and climate in which we do find ourselves in, where you've got agents speaking to everyone and the best mate, really. And like, they're speaking to the middlemen in relation to not speaking to the football club, first and foremost. That club should have went to Liverpool Football Club straight away. Not a case of we put a bid in, we negotiate with Hendo's agents, Hendo himself, agree, and then trying to get him on a free as well. Yeah.
Like, they seem to be going, we'd like to sign Jordan Henderson for free after talking to Jordan Henderson. Well, Jordan Henderson doesn't
own the club.
Yeah, well, he doesn't own his own. Yeah. He's under contract to Liverpool Football Club.
Yeah,
and they say, you know what I mean? It's just ethics seem to. No, there was never many ethics in football. I think as far as agents go, there aren't any.
Yeah,
but this seems to have taken it to a whole different level altogether. That football clubs have been cut out of like you. How many times have you not heard from football clubs, and it's been agents and players and the main selling club, or what would be the main selling club, doesn't even get a mention. Such and such a player is going this place. It doesn't give like Jordan Henderson is going to whatever club it is. No mention of Liverpool Football Club, and it's happened several times with these players. So I just think, sadly, it's the dawn. As if agents weren't bad enough, it's like Planet of the Apes here now at this stage with agents. These guys just are doing what they want, running around all these clubs. Here's 20 million, go get me such and such a guy. That has to be happening. These guys are not doing this for nothing. They're pocketing big sums of money for getting their players out there. Big players, little players, whatever. But the heart and soul of this is agents doing dirty work.
Yeah, but it's a sad state of affair, really, in terms of that. In terms of Hannah's comments as well, Hendo getting an award for LGBTQ advocacy and then goes to a country where members of the community passed away. It's disappointing, and everyone's got their own different views as well, really. But it is disappointing. But you'd hope. But as I said, it's.
I think just quickly on that point, Jack.
Yeah.
I think I've heard a lot of people, on different social like media and outlets and stuff about that. I think with Jordan Henderson, I think when it comes from off the pitch, I don't think his viewpoints or anything like that will change. They will not change whatsoever. You sometimes put into account as well. I know it's very difficult for one person to do it, but the more these footballers go out there, the more that sport is brought within the Saudi. It's not just football; it's golf, boxing, Formula One. Everyone is trying to do their part in society to try and sort of minimize, what happens in other countries like Saudi Arabia compared to what happens here. So Jordan Henderson, in realness, could go out there as sort of as a role model out there to try and sort of make something happen. He's not the only one that's going to make obviously change. Of course, he's not, but I think that's why a lot of these, not just obviously the money side of it is the most important thing. Of course, it is, but these footballers, these sportsmen, these sportswomen, or anyone who wants to go out and perform in front of their country and perform in their country, I think that's what they're possibly doing as well. So I'm hoping that especially the fans of the football club understand that sort of side of it as well. But I don't think at any point his viewpoints will change about LGBT and other sort of areas that he's done a lot of work and support with.
Yeah, 100%, mate. As I said, chat is Luke's spot on. 100%. It's obviously the whole world, everyone, we all accept one another. We respect one another's viewpoints and everything as well, and communities. That's where certain sections are disappointed as well. As Luke said, the campaigns, and we've listened to what Henderson has been very much a pioneer at the forefront in the last 12 years at Liverpool. Someone that speaks up for people that haven't got much of a voice in certain communities as well. And it's money can change massively by the looks of it, changes people as well. I don't think in terms of Hannah's ruins football legacy, but what he's achieved for us, but it's a sour view him. I think that's the thing, innit? And then Ricky, there's a sour taste in relation to Henderson's departure, really. In all honesty, for me, really, mate. I see what we agreed as well. What have you seen there?
No, I was just looking at Wiggs' comment.
Yeah, Wiggs' comment made me smile, and then Rick started laughing as soon as I smiled.
Oh yeah, there we go. What are we getting? What are we getting off Rick there, lad?
What are we drinking?
Oh, I'll tell you what. If we don't get a number 6, I think we'll be having a couple of JDs in there, double JDs and Coke.
I just see someone just have a proper meltdown on social media saying that we're potentially letting 8 players go, and we've only brought 2 in so far.
But the players that we've let go, really,
I know.
Getting to the starting 11. Naby wasn't even fit. Thiago's half of the season crocked anyway. We're going to be losing him next season. Matip, legend of the club, but he's not really 100% fit.
No, but it's the 8 we've let go already. So we've let go Ox, who didn't do anything. Naby Keita, who's now out for 7 weeks at his new club. Who else we let go? Ox,
Milner,
Keita. Milner. Yeah, Milner's gone. That's 3.
Fabinho potentially. Nat Phillips.
4. Yeah, but I'm not too fussed about them. I'm on about like the.
No, but we're letting players go. Yeah. Squad. Do you know what I mean? Firmino.
Yeah, but Firmino we've already bought Firmino's replacement in.
I just seen just quickly, Jack. I just seen Brian's comment about with Jordan Henderson going to be an advocate. I didn't actually say he's going there to be an advocate. What I said was, if people like Jordan Henderson and other footballers and other sportsmen have gone around Saudi Arabia to help sort of promote it worldwide. I'm not saying they're going to promote it, of course, not on their own, because, that's not possible. But, the more it gets introduced, the more it gets spoke about in a society, the more it gets sort of raised the profile, then things could potentially start changing. So, of course, Jordan Henderson's not going to go out there on his own.
Man can't change.
Of course not. But whilst everyone, if people are going to go out there and play sport and whatever, they're going to do what they can, as a society to help it. Like that's what I mean by it. It's not just Henderson going out there, because there's no chance on his own.
Yeah, 100%. I knew where you're coming from, Mace, as well. I think we all do. It's but we'll quickly get on to that one, and perfect person. Don't you if you're watching, and if you're watching me, Ricky, and Luke before, good half an hour ago. If you were on the Liverpool's members sale list for tickets, something that they charge 30-40 quid a year to be on, and the privilege to be on. And after the time, you don't even get, the site crashes every single season. You'd think you'd at least pay for better servers, saying that I'd rather they bought a 6 than spend it more money on servers. That's probably like the 1,000th problem at the football club. Ricky, disappointing really, mate, isn't it? Like it's and this goes to what Luke and Nigel were saying at the top of the show, the lack of their planning, really, like the delaying in schedule of the potentially new stand as well, Rick. You were extremely look at him, he's absolutely fuming.
It's shambolic, man.
Go on.
I mean, for how big this club is, Steve in the ticket booth can't figure out how many seats we're going to have. For the
where do you just straight away think of these names?
It's my old man's name, isn't it? So that I can't get accused of just rocking people's names up. But
yeah,
I mean,
Carvalho alone as well.
Jack's the one organising the tickets, isn't he?
Yeah,
I wish you'd be getting none.
Shit, surely we must have only the seats to put in by now.
Yeah, no, it's.
Or someone's gonna have to start putting double shifts in.
So we'll be playing along like 10-minute walk away from Anfield across Stanley Park at this rate.
It's all right, though. It's all right. They've extended the ballot thing for another 2 weeks. I'm only going to get the same emails when they get to that.
It's just delaying the inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah. Unsuccessful. Crack on in November. Unsuccessful. Where's your next 30 quid?
Do you know what I find so funny? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I try to go once, maybe twice a year, like cup games. Obviously, one of my friends has got a cup scheme, as you all know. But the worst ones when like people go for the ballot and they're like, "Oh, can't go to a game," and then all of a sudden you'll see them at a game, and it's like, "Hold on a minute."
I was going to say there was queues, Luke, and there was people on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, there was people crying their eyes out wanting Taylor Swift tickets, especially Vicky as well. You one of them, weren't you, lad?
Who's Taylor Swift?
Oh yeah.
Who's Taylor Swift, eh?
There we go. Oh, something come out, Nigel. What's this? Oh, you're on mute there, lad.
Yeah, Kefra and Tora have to stay at Leeds at Nice.
Yeah,
it's just come up here.
Yeah, we spoke about that weeks ago.
I wasn't listening.
Cheers, Jeff.
Thank you for that, lad. Anyway, I think that is, well, we know he was stayed anyway because it was a difficult one. But carry on there, Luke, on what we were finishing, mate. Sorry, before the day.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, it just makes me made me laugh. Like, you see, don't get me wrong, obviously people, you know, if they know people and they get tickets and stuff, great, you know, like go for it and, you know, support the team and that. But, you know, me and Ricky, for example, obviously, like, we go to a couple of handful of games and we're fine with that. You know, we're not sort of complaining or anything. We're fine. You know, if we go to one game or no games, that's it. But it's when they're unsuccessful in the ballot and then all of a sudden you see them at 10 games a year. It's like, hold on a minute. Why are you crying like if you ain't got a ticket in the ballot? Like, you know,
it's like the safeguarding of like the gatekeeping of who goes to Anfield. Half the time, it's like it should be a case of everyone should get put in a hat, and I'll get the whole point of season tickets. But you should be getting put into an hat, even if it was like 1 million people in the hat. Go forward, it like winning the Euro Millions. That's what it literally is, winning a lottery anyway. Well, I was just seeing Latham's comment to get that up in a little second anyway.
I love his picture.
Yeah, just
that looks like his Pro Clubs character.
Yeah, it looks like Ben in general anyway. Last time I saw the pitch hadn't been relayed yet. And it looks like, I think we've all seen pictures. I'll try and get one up before we do shoot off. And I think it very much has been put down, which is good. Obviously, all the cranes and everything have been taken out. So looks like more or less everything's done. But it's as we spoke about with you, Luke and Ricky, before, it needs to be getting properly tested, in all honesty, because our pre-season game is only up the motorway in terms of Preston, Deepdale. It's literally half an hour down the road anyway on the motorway. And it's not really at Anfield. The only practice that Liverpool will get, as it stands of recording this video, will be the Deepdale friendly, unless Liverpool announce a miraculous pre-season game at Anfield. Like what? Look what we done, Nigel. When we had 2 pre-season games in the space of 24 hours, and that's where Ebu's injury come from.
And lost both.
Yeah, we lost both anyway. That Strasbourg striker was an absolute giant, mate. He's at his greens anyway. Like I think he's playing somewhere in Marseille or somewhere now. Anyway.
Well, can I just start just quickly on that? Obviously, we played them 2 pre-season games in 2 days. Who in their right mind has generally thought to themselves, "That's a good idea"?
Nigel?
Well,
Not me.
we were supposed to put 2 separate different teams out, but with the amount of injuries we had, we ended up playing the same players.
Oh, we played the Community Shield game against City, and it's like fair enough. And all of a sudden, it's like, who in their right mind generally thought that was a good idea? Because we didn't have a home friendly at Anfield. I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny, right? Look at Manchester City's model, the way they do friendlies. How many friendlies did they play before they played us? 2? I mean, we went and played about 5 or 6. Like, our players are done. They're knackered. Like, you see Champions League final, we were tired. Like, we needed that good break before pre-season, get some training, couple of friendlies, nothing much. Do a tour out in, I don't know, Singapore or, America or wherever it is. Then come back, reset, go for the Man City game, and then prepare for the new season. Man City, they do it all the time. They only play a couple of games. Right. And they're already sort of fit and firing, ready for the season. Like with us, we just burn ourselves out the whole time, and we're always playing catch up from the first moment.
Yeah, 100% there. Nigel, I'll let Redbirds
I don't think the haters have ever gone away.
Yeah.
As in reference to the previous about the thing about his legacy, I'm not sure it's his playing legacy that you were talking about that he's going to hurt. Is it the legacy of his advocacy for the LGBTQ and all that? That could be hurt more. His playing legacy is not in question, although it is by some people. But I'd like Jordan Henderson when he joined first. They started him playing on the right hand side when he's clearly a centre midfielder, and he got stick from day one. When he went into the middle, he much more polished, looked a better player. He's been really good for us. His football and legacy won't be tarnished, but what might be tarnished is his his support for the LGBTQ community, and possibly his affinity with the fans, leaving in such a way that most of them, there's a lot of them don't like him anyway. But that could be hurt as well. That's the legacy, not the footballing legacy.
Yeah, I'll quickly bring up here chat if it lets me. Maybe 1 second here, chat. There we go. 1 sec. We'll just quickly touch on, brings up to Drew's comments as well. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, the announcement, if you've just come in from work or whatnot, chat. Obviously, the announcement, Calvin, Ramsey. Bit of a mad one, this, Ricky, in all honesty. And it made in terms of Liverpool bringing him in, there wasn't real, well, you'd like to hope there'd be a clear pathway straight into the first team, mate. But yet again, it just hasn't worked in terms of last season, getting that injury. In terms of coming from Aberdeen, he comes with such a big report in Scottish football. How do you anticipate him to do at Preston? I think it should be a decent move, because I think Preston last season eventually started getting things ticking over, really. There weren't that many points off. I think promotion was it in terms of the top 6. But Ricky, what are we saying?
Who is it?
Calvin Ramsey.
Who's this? Never seen him before. I mean, Jesus, man, was he Ben Davis' stepbrother?
I had to pause there, because half the time Joe and I speak about Andy Robinson. I've done it literally just there.
Andy Robinson.
Yeah, there we go. Andy Robbo. When we speak about Robbo, half the time I'm calling him the fella that we used to have at the back, Jack Robinson. Half the time everyone's going, but carry on, like he's one of them, isn't he? Like, come for, was it smart? Aberdeen, like with
Aberdeen, yeah, 6-7 million we paid for him. I mean,
Seth van der Berg's loan at Preston didn't do him any good, did he?
No, that's because they played him right back in DM. Like the game's is 6 foot, I don't know, 4 or 5, and they played in DM or right back. He's a centre half, but it's going to be interesting to see. I can't see this kid being at Liverpool long term. I mean,
so the manager's isn't he from Scotland, isn't he? Like they do well up there, and they come here, and then like they're just they're not very good.
I get he was injured quite a bit last season. What do we do? Just phone up the NHS to see what they've got available for the
trains with Cater, that's why.
Ebu would only be on the hospital ward if he carries on doing wheelies.
We need a new one though, don't we? Like, I mean, Ox is gone and Cater's gone. We need someone new, don't we?
Oh, don't say that.
Someone's got to keep.
Oh, that happened. No, we got to have someone new.
Oh, you've jinxed it now, Luke.
Who is it? Who we say is going to be the one that gets injured? Thiago's still in, isn't he? He keeps them busy most season.
We're blaming Luke if one of our key players.
Joel Matip.
I've always said it. I've said it for weeks, months. Liverpool's training Kirby facility is meant to be built on a bloody witch site anyway. So just saying, it's not the best when you do that, is it? The Kirby facility. But...
Not being funny though. I know this is sort of away from Calvin Ramsey. We look at midfield options. Did you see that picture of Klopp?
Yeah.
When he's taking on a couple of the players and say, put him in as a new DM. I don't know if you can find it, Jack, but it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll try and get it.
Matip was trying to take the ball off him. Hendo was round him. Who was the other two?
Matip cut a toenail, I heard, when he done that. He's out for 3 weeks.
Henderson probably thought him with a 2 foot Klopp is because he won't.
That's why Klopp's playing. He's in Henderson's role. He's getting them short minutes.
Mate,
Klopp's like us tonight. He's probably just gone in there with
Henderson's been told he's getting short minutes. He's not turning up for work, so Klopp's the supervisor. He's the one that's getting in, and he's the one filling in.
And still getting a swift 1-2 by Jürgen on the way.
John Emery's been on the blower to Jürgen Klopp. Told him, "You're not manager no more. We need you as a 6." Linders is taking charge.
You see that one clip when Klopp scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
That was it.
And then hoofed it out of the stadium.
There we go, chat. But this is Calvin Ramsey's obviously comments on social media as well. Calvin Bassey. Very excited to be here. I can't wait for the new season to start and see you all at Deepdale soon. And hopefully, I'm hoping he just gets first team football, gets started to play, because one of the things I wanted to mention as well, tie it in perfectly, really, as well, chat. I'll ask you, Nigel, and we'll go around the chat as well. We'll chat. Clear pathways for youngsters as well. This is going to be a key issue, really, because for me, Nigel, I look at the under-23s. Is it classed as the under-23s in terms of the league? For me, it's not really proper development, really. And you look at clubs like City, you look at Liverpool as well, and other top teams, for example, there's not really, unless you are a Trent or potential Ben Doak, you never know in the next 5 years if you get straight into the first team. But there's not, for me, these clubs that were loaning these players out, they're not really getting straight, like coming back straight into, that's the whole, it defeats the whole purpose of a bloody loan. Like these loans are meant to come back and they're meant to be ready, like supposedly to go straight into your first team, Nigel. But for me, thoughts on the talented Scottish wizard that we did sign from Celtic a couple of last year, or 2 years ago anyway. But there's been a lot of, I'm excited to see this young lad break into the Liverpool's fair team, hopefully very soon.
Huge potential. There's a few guys there that could do something. Just on the subject of loaning out players, we're loaning them out, like, no disrespect to any of the lower league teams or anything like that, but they're playing at a lesser level than they could be, or they should be, really. And they're coming back and they're not up to the standard. So how are they supposed to break into a team when they're playing at a lesser standard than they should be playing? And maybe sometimes not getting games. But this kid has all the potential in the world. I hope they don't loan him out. Get him a few games here and there. Get him 10 minutes in a couple of games.
Conor
Bradley's the first 4 or 5 games. Get him 10 minutes in the first 3 games.
Yeah, Conor Bradley's another name to that as well, mate. Which is mentioned there. Another one that is being on loan at Bolton last season. Obviously, I think he got voted their player of the season and young player of the season as well.
Yeah, he did very well.
Like, you do wonder, Nigel, on the closing point, mate, is like, where do you anticipate the development to be? It's not going to be at Liverpool, as much as we'd like to see it in terms of Liverpool, but it goes to the point that we've mentioned before. If Liverpool, we can't be stockpiling youngsters or stockpiling players. Really, they need to be.
Didn't work for Chelsea.
Yeah,
we've got a young guy who was captain of Germany under 16, Melkamo Frauendorf. I think he was in this first team squad a couple of times. He's made a couple of appearances, but I'm not sure he's going to make any breakthrough. We've got a few other guys. We had Dominic Solanke here for a while, and he didn't look like he was going to improve our first team squad, did he? Scored 1 goal against Brighton at the end of the season.
Made some good money out of him.
Yeah, we got some good money out of him.
We did.
I don't think Bournemouth are going to be dealing with us for the next 10 years, mate. So tell you now.
Yep.
And the amount of money we fleeced out of them for the half of our players.
Yeah,
I think one thing, just going back to Nigel's point, I think when he was saying about some of the players that go out on loan to like lower divisions, I think the threat is with Liverpool. For example, say with Calvin Ramsey, say they went and sent him to, I don't know, say Bournemouth, for example. Now, I get with Calvin Ramsey, we know he's a right back, so he would always play right back. I think with someone like maybe Harvey Elliott or someone like Tyler Morton, when they went to Blackburn last season and the season before, I think in that sort of area of the pitch when they were playing in centre mid or the right or the left, I think what Liverpool get worried about, if they send them to a Premier League club that are lower in the division, I think potentially they might get worried about not just the game time, but also for the position that they want them to play. Sometimes they might turn around and say to the club and say, right, if you're going to have Harvey Elliott, say Bournemouth, we want him to play in centre midfield, and Bournemouth then play him on the right. For the development side of it, it's obviously not good for us. That's why I think they send them to a Blackburn or they send them to, I don't know, a Preston, and they know that they will have to use them in those areas of the pitch because it's much more easier to agree that with a club that's a bit more lower down the pyramid. But it's worked. With Harvey Elliott, it worked. I think he was unbelievable for Blackburn. Morton had a decent year with Blackburn as well last season. I can see improvement sides of it, but I do get your point. I also would like to see our players in the Premier League sort of thing, like playing. But I don't know. I think maybe for Calvin Ramsey, because he didn't really have much game time last year, I think it was very difficult to then get him straight to a Premier League club. I think Preston would be a decent move for him, to be fair.
Should be interesting, in all honesty, mate. So we'll quickly rattle through all these and then we'll conclude anyway. Chat's been absolutely smashing it, so appreciate it anyway, everyone. And just quickly rattle through anyway. Everyone's
That's a good shout. Cade Gordon as well. A lot of people forgot about him as well.
Cade Gordon. Yeah, it's quickly. Yeah, well, everyone's. Yeah.
First day back today training after 17 months out.
Yeah, good to see that.
But yeah. As Anne said, the academy is doing its job of selling players for money as well. And that's it, Ricky. And we've seen this quite massively with Manchester City as well. For all the, 15 million for that under 21 goalkeeper in the tournament just gone for the European goalkeeper. So it's another branch, to say the least, as much as we dislike it. That's the one thing Liverpool have not been doing in recent seasons in terms of selling well. As we just alluded to, the joke about Bournemouth, we used to do it well. But for me, Ricky, Liverpool need to start selling well again, really, especially if we're looking at funds to really not. And I think you're going to mention who's to sell.
Yeah, we have no one to sell.
But in terms of youth players as well, potentially, like you look at
Liverpool ruin a lot of youth kids. This Polish kid who's supposed to be a talent,
Masalowski.
Yeah, has 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah,
he's got 1 year left on his deal. He's going on loan with an obligation to buy to a few Polish teams apparently linked with him. To be fair, he did sack his agent and his mum and dad have sort of took the reins. Probably badly advised him, but we don't have no one to sell in that youth team. Listen, if Man City are getting 20 million for this goalkeeper that played League One football last season, how are we not getting 20 mil for Kelleher?
Yeah, and it's even that situation that I think whose comment was there, but someone just mentioned as well, like Carvalho, that's what I was speaking about before in terms of Liverpool getting these players, and we don't really fully develop them really. And then RB Leipzig, they've just got 60, 70 million off us for Dominic Szoboszlai, really.
I think they've got an extra 60 million for Nkunku as well.
Yeah, Xavi Simons as well. Looks like he's going on loan there or potentially getting signed by RB Leipzig as well. So it's going to be interesting. And I'm hoping, well, if Liverpool do lose Ricky Carvalho as well, chat, we better start asking for like 30, 40 million. Like, try and get a bit more of that. Even if we don't think he's not worth that. Like, Ricky, go on.
Right. You're going to...
It's about being difficult negotiators.
Yeah,
we can't be just like...
We don't have Edwards anymore.
But it's up to the people in the club. This goes to the point of what we were saying at the top of the show.
Edwards could sell water to a swimming pool company. No.
Do you think with Liverpool, like the board potentially with Carvalho, do you think they're really hoping for a great season or a good season for him so they can get a bigger profit?
Yeah,
not so much of bringing him back to Liverpool, because we've clearly seen that he doesn't fit our style of play, even though he had a couple of decent games. But he clearly doesn't fit Liverpool's style of play. Liverpool don't want to hang on to him, so they want him to have a great season so they can push. What did we pay for him in the end? Was it about 10 million? I mean, if Liverpool can potentially double their money at least, then they've had a win-win there, really.
Yeah, happy days. Chat. I love it, chat. Keep it going anyway. As I said, mods, keep an eye on some of the comments as well. Everyone's been...
See, someone's just put a comment in. Someone's got to be looking into this Southampton Man City thing. Something's going on there.
Lavia was from Millwall's academy.
Yeah, but he was at City's academy, and that's where
he went to Man City for was it like 5 million or something?
Yeah, but Southampton have just paid 10.5 million for another City kid that no one's ever seen. So who's paying for this? Our City, mate. Someone needs to check these bank accounts, mate.
115.
Yeah, true. So we've mentioned Calvin, Bendo. I'll just go around the room in terms of how do you anticipate, Nigel, where do you anticipate Bendo to be in the next... Obviously, we all know he'll be at Liverpool Football Club, but do you anticipate him to very much break into the Liverpool's first team this season?
I'd like to see him getting games, maybe 15, 16 games or something like that off the bench, and maybe one or two starts.
Like, it's going to be interesting how Liverpool utilise the Europa League going into the season as well.
Yeah, get a few games in that maybe, and get some starts in cup games. These are where we have to blood these kids, these cup games. If we can win the first 3 Europa League games, get ourselves through the qualifying, and then we can play some kids. You know what I mean? Particularly at home, give them the Anfield atmosphere. For cup games, because I don't care. The fans will turn up. Liverpool fans will turn up at any game in the Europa League. They're going to be there to support the team. Get these lads in the squad. If we can win the first couple of games in the Europa League, 3-4 games, then let's have some kids.
Yeah, big up there, Nick. Good business. Expect them to get relegated as well. Yeah, chat's speaking about is it Paulinho? But we'll speak about down the closing points anyway. Crazy money anyway for a very good DM, but crazy. Hence the whole footballing world is going a bit mad in terms of transfer fees. Declan Rice, talented player, saying this to the lads, but $100 million for Declan Rice, the most expensive ever English player. Yeah,
in the Premier League.
Another show for another night anyway. Sorry, Declan Rice fans. Luke,
we're not including Bellingham because he's broke our hearts.
We're forgetting that name anyway. Sadly. Luke, as Nigel just said there, do you hope and anticipate Europa League? Do you anticipate Klopp to very much go into the Europa League this season with a lot more youth, or do you anticipate the disappointment from last season, very much the case in point of the year before when we won the FA Cup and the League Cup? It's still a competition, and considering if hopefully that isn't the case, what we find ourselves 5 weeks until the end of the season, Liverpool are outside of the top 4. It presents Liverpool with an opportunity to a clear pathway of very much getting back into the Champions League.
I think that's how you got to see it. I think the last 5 to 6 years of the Europa League, it's been like that. I think we could have another poor domestic season. We don't know, but obviously we could do well in the Europa League. But in regards to Ben Doak, I think we're going to see him a lot in the Europa League. I really do. I think Klopp is going to try, and I think he'll go strong to an extent. I think there might be, at least half the squad that will be rested. I'm not expecting to see Mohamed Salah start in these games. I'm not expecting to see players like
Salah deserves
I
a
don't
rest.
know.
My man's
Yeah,
played.
like I'm not expecting Alisson to start. I think Kelleher will probably start those games. Maybe Andy Robertson will probably be rested as well. I think those sort of 3-4 key players will be rested, like Van Dijk, for example, and potentially Kanate as well. But regarding Ben Doka, I think he's going to play a lot in the Europa League. League Cup, 100%. FA Cup, I think it depends on the draw. I think we always get a Premier League team away from home in the third round. And it's usually Wolves or it's usually somewhere like that. But regarding Europa League, I think group stage, I think Ben Doak, as Nigel said, and I agree with him, under the lights, Anfield, European night. Yeah, it's not the Champions League, but it is still the Europa League. The fans are going to be behind him. They're going to, really give him that support and that bit of encouragement to do well. He's going to be nervous. Of course he will. But I think he's got bundles of energy, bundles of talent. I mean, the first thing we all see as a Liverpool fan is when he rolled Luca Digne. I mean, obviously, Aston Villa away, was it on Boxing Day? And we just straight away knew this kid was special. So hopefully, at least in the group stage, especially, we do see a lot of him in the Europa League.
Yeah, 100%. Rick, I've asked chat there as well. Let us know if there's any. I know a lot of you do watch the under 21s and 23s as well. Ricky, is there any young players or players that you're really hoping to get more of an opportunity going into next season? I think the biggest one, as we've already spoke about, is Stefan Bajcetic. I'm really intrigued to see how his development goes this season, but goes to the point in which we were discussing at the top of the show. I'm hoping there's not too much of an emphasis relied upon that young lad's shoulders anyway.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Doak for me will be Salah's understudy this season. I can see him getting Prem games coming on, Cup games, Europa League. You got Kwanzaa from the under 23s, the centre back. He looks a very good talent at centre half, big boy, tall, strong.
No, there, Adam. Sorry, miss. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I mean, he looks very good. They'll probably be the only two that really come out. And that comment about fifth place, it was supposed to be next season, but UEFA scrapped it altogether. Yeah. So fifth place don't get Champions League next season either.
I think it will be a case in a couple of years, lads, as well. And chat, it will be.
They're changing the format, aren't they?
Yeah, I was going to say it will be
from next season.
Yeah, it will be in the next couple of years, 100%.
Because it'll be Champions League, but there'll be Saudi clubs coming in the Champions League.
Give it another couple of years.
It'll be a massive competition.
Yeah. The more Saudi teams or more teams come in general, anyway. I think it will. The Premier League will be 6. I'd say even up to 6. You look at the quality in the Premier League. I think long term, that's what UEFA wants, isn't it, lads? They want and chat. They want you.
It's their version of Super League, isn't it?
It is. I was going to say, look, it's their version of the Super League. So I was going to say, like, how detrimental do you think that would be to potential world football, Luke? It depends. They have the monopoly on everyone, don't they? The desperation from a lot of clubs in around Europe. We see how much an importance it does hold, and it's the revenue stream, a massive part of revenue streams. But I still feel UEFA and the governing bodies can do much better, in all honesty, me mate.
Money talks, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
money talks, and yeah, and it's. I mean, you've only just got to look at clubs like Barcelona, for example. They obviously, I know they've got their own problems. That goes beyond years, but they get more money for winning the Champions League compared to winning their domestic league. I mean, was it a couple of years ago? I think Norwich got more money for coming bottom, and they got more money than Bayern Munich for winning the Bundesliga. Like the Champions League is everything for these German, Italian. I mean, for Inter Milan last year, it was absolutely everything. I mean, obviously they got a lot of prize money last year because they're in a lot of trouble themselves. But yeah, I mean, money talks, mate. I mean, especially with these European, as I said, the foreign clubs, that want to obviously do well in Europe. And Ricky's right. I think there can be a lot of. I think there'll be a couple of Saudi sort of investors, potentially as well. Not being funny, potentially from maybe the MLS as well. Considering you're seeing, Lionel Messi go out there, and there's going to be some big names in the next couple of years. If that grows as well, that's another economy. You're going to see, I think, potential Champions League games out in America.
And that's the stake. Everyone says, Luke, isn't it? But that's what I see on social media, especially on Twitter. Everyone goes, "But it's Europe," and they read out the mantra of what it stands for, the Euro Champions League. What it used to stand for is when you'd only get in the competition if you actually won your league title. Hence why Liverpool were so successful back in the past as well. Nigel, like it's almost like there's a pass for everyone really, and we are literally going to see a season. Even when you go back to 2005, we finished 5th in the league that season anyway. And we very much go into the Champions League the year after.
Give it about 5 years, and the 4 of us could be playing in the Champions League. That's the way it's going.
Well, but I think we're not even on the punditry. You never know. I tell you what, Sky might have us on. You never know.
When we were European champions, 1978. Forest won the league title in 1978. We played Nottingham Forest, and they knocked us out of the European Cup and won it 2 years in a row. 1979, 1980. We won it again in 1981. That's how strong the English league was back then.
Yeah,
you know, and it's become more and more and more diluted. Like we had some really, really good teams playing in those leagues back then, and like it's all about money. It's like you said earlier on. It's completely about money. This is not a chance to give other teams a chance. This is the chance to line their pockets.
Yeah,
UEFA, FIFA, Saudi Arabia, America, wherever.
It's about time. About time, Nigel, lads, as well, Ricky, Luke, and chat, that the fans around the world actually stood up to these bloody organisations in terms of UEFA and the FA, and we done it against in terms of the away travel and the away fee as well, Ricky. It's closing points as well, but I'll get to Ricky's points in a little second. Good evening, boys. We need a very good DM, especially now with the 2 midfielders already in the team. But I'm sure we have someone lined up. What we are not even thinking of. You never walk alone in 97 as well. Big up there, Alan. Go to see it in the comments, mate, as always.
Just the last point on the UEFA thing.
Yeah.
Our fans went out to the UEFA Cup final or the European Cup final and basically got tear gassed and maced and stuff like that. And the same thing kind of happened to some of them last year as well. I'm not sure who, the City and some of them lads. Like, these guys don't care about us. We got handed over to an inept police force who decided to beat fans. Like, how is that standing? These guys just do not care. They want money, and that's all that matters. That's the only point there.
And it's very much up to the bigger people out there in terms of their channels, bigger people with bigger voices anyway, to very much take them upon our hands. There was a couple of lads for the Anfield Rap that done a tremendous job in terms of the coverage. There's a young lad that obviously he speaks French and he was going on apologies. I think it was Dan, but apologies on the name, but he was going on French TV and very much translating everything. And he was an absolute beacon for Liverpool's fan base. He was tremendous in every aspect, really. But it's about the football and family very much putting everyone to the sword, really, in terms of getting the best out of football, making every single facet of football, making it better in the fans, the whole surrounding and the whole package that is football as well, making it better anyway. But we'll quickly closing points anyway. I'll let Ricky speak about it. I know Chat was speaking about Paulinia. Ricky, bit of a mad one. I know it's off Liverpool anyway, but big fee. You're chuckling to yourself, I think, in terms of the supposed fee. Is it 60, 70 odd million reported this evening that they're wanting for Fulham's DM?
Yeah, I mean,
madness. The window's gone mad for me. It's ridiculous.
It's not even that. I'm seeing so many Liverpool fans on social media want him at Liverpool. One, he's 28 years old. One, he's going to cost north of 60 million. Two, I don't rate him.
That's a
mate, he's a.
No, I mean Fulham were tipped to go down last season without him in the team.
He plays for Fulham, who's got to do a lot of defending. Yeah, he's got to do a lot of defending.
Bear in mind that Fulham midfield absolutely ran us off the park.
I disagree.
Mate, I'm taking I prefer Fabinho to stay than signing Paulinho.
Oh,
I think in base of like career, I think last season Paulinho was one of the best DMs in the Premier League last season.
Statistically, he was.
He's 28 years old.
No, I get that. If he was 25, I'll snap you around. I'll pay 70 million for him if he's 25.
Who?
If he's 25, I'll pay
70 million for Paulinho.
If he was 20, if he was 25,
I want what you're smoking.
I said if he was 25. I said if he was 25.
Even at 25, he's
not
not worth 70
million.
He's
There we go.
35 million
Fulham
tops.
have got every right to demand that amount of money. They paid 30 million for him. He's got 4 years left on his contract.
They
got
paid
every
10
right.
mil for him.
And also the reason why they want that amount of money, especially from West Ham, is because they know it's like the Maguire situation. Do you remember Leicester knew Man United needed Maguire because they obviously needed the centre half so badly? It was like, right, 80 million. And then Man United had to pay. It's similar with West Ham. They need a defensive midfielder because Rice is gone.
Mate, there's better players in Europe than Polina, and you can get him for half the price. If you're paying 80 mil for Polina, I can't be asked to watch football. I think he's 35, 40 tops. I wouldn't even pay that for him.
No, I agree with you, but Fulham have got
Fabinho is above Polina. What? Because Fabinho had one bad
got
season.
no legs.
Yeah, that's because we're running into the ground.
No, I do
Two
agree.
decent midfielders. Two decent midfielders next to Fabinho. He ain't got a run. He's one of the best tacklers in world football, and we're banging on about an 80 million pound transfer fee for a DM who's 28 and plays for Fulham.
But that's how desperate we are, though, mate. And this goes to the
point because we ain't got 80 mil anyway.
Yeah, it just goes to the point of how desperate. Well, not
that.
Mate,
we signed Polina. Call it a day, mate. Call it a day.
We're not getting Polina.
West Ham have only got some money because they've sold a certain race baby down the road.
But West Ham can't be stupid enough to pay 80 mil for that. For Polina.
You'd be very surprised, West Ham.
The thing is, but Fulham are putting the price up to West Ham because they know they need him.
He's 28 years of age.
I know, but
he's had one decent season.
We agree with you. He's not worth 80 million, but Fulham will put the price for West Ham because West Ham need him. So they'll go, right, you need him, you pay us the money. Yeah, Man United, Leicester done it with Maguire, didn't they? They knew they needed Maguire.
It's English tax. Polina's not English, for one. Okay, no, mate, there's better DMs in world football.
I'm going to do
Wiggs is in the comment asking if you had your pint yet. Do you know what I mean? Come on.
Mate, I'd need more than a pint if we're smashing 80 mil on Polina. Man.
I love you, Ricky. I love you.
West Ham have been linked to Maguire as well, so all bets are off there.
I think it sounds mad, but I think Maguire wouldn't do too badly at West Ham. He did all right at Leicester. You could and to be fair, if he plays the style West Ham want to play him in, he's not a bad defender. He's not a Man United style defender, is he? Yeah. Man United were desperate. They spent 80 million. I felt for him when they paid 80 million for him. That's not his fault.
Would any club pay 50 million for him, though?
But again, Man United are in a situation where he's still got a couple of years left on his deal. Again, West Ham need defenders and they need midfielders. They can put the price up. And it's Premier League tax. It's English tax. They can use the international stage. Maguire does pretty well for England, to be fair.
I love Wolves thinking there of only at this moment in time we offer a 25 million Fendo. I'd agree there, Luke, anyway.
Someone had a conversation with Doug in the chat. Polina would be a very good signing. Then he's offered us Douglas Luiz. Oh, mate.
Oh, no, Douglas.
The Liverpool Football Club, and he's bringing out championship level players.
There we go. Yeah, well, carry on, Luke, before I rudely interrupted.
No, I was just saying, I think Maguire for somewhere like West Ham. I mean, I'm not being funny. I think Tottenham need defenders. I mean, I'm not being funny. He could do well in a certain... No, but he could play well in a free at Spurs. He can't play in a back four. If he plays in a free...
Who?
Harry Maguire, I think he might do all right at Spurs.
If someone's got pace next to him.
Nigel, what were we saying on that, chaps? I was going to say.
Obviously, you do need pace next to him. I get that with a defender and the wing backs at Spurs, the way they play. But Maguire generally could do somewhere well. Obviously, compared to Man United, of course he's not going to do well. He was brilliant for Leicester.
Yeah,
he could do that at West Ham.
Nigel, you done a rant about Paolino as well? But I can get where the emotions come from, and that's why I love it. That's what we want. We want more emotion on the panel as well. I need to, and I was fuming at the top of the show, mega fuming.
He's not even with her no more, lad.
I know they broke up.
Oh yeah,
not paying 90 million, not paying 80 or 90 million for a 28-year-old holding midfield player who's had one half decent season.
Yeah.
No way.
Have you got a decent canteen lady or something? To
be fair, he did. To be fair, he did help Sporting Lisbon win their league, didn't he?
Oh, what one of the three big teams in Portugal against part-time postmen.
Rather than pay for money for a Scottish player.
We watched the Portuguese game around Jack's house when we was in Liverpool. Right?
That was
Braga. I had Braga in my bet in Portugal. You can't tell me that Portugal leagues professional football. The state of that stadium looked like they was playing on a mountain.
Yep.
The grass wasn't even real.
The football wasn't even real.
We're living in a simulation, chat. It's all right. Wake up. You're not actually watching the stream.
We go back to my comments on the Scottish League earlier on. Same for the Portuguese League.
Yeah, 100%. I love it, chat.
Doug, have a day off, mate.
Marco Grujic.
Oh no, now he's just bait.
Mate.
Doug, you're that's massive bait. What is it? The Tom Hardy meme on socials. That's that is bait. But big up, Doug. Big up to everyone. I might even do a stream of us forward again, just talk about Paulina. Paulina, I'm gonna let Ricky introduce it, aren't we, Rick?
Do you know what, Rick? Just for you, I'll get Scott to come on as well. Just for you.
What a deluded Fulham fan that will tell me Paulina's worth over 100 mil because he's got 5 years left on his deal.
But yeah, but
Fulham wish they could see 100 mil in their bank account.
But yeah, right, chat. I'll tell you what, we've gone. Time flies when you are very much having fun. Nigel, Luke. I think I don't have to go before Luke cries his eyes out anyway. Luke, Ricky, I'll let. Well, Luke, do you want to just shout out your channel?
Yeah, let Luke do it.
There we go. Man.
Fucking hell.
Compose yourself, lad.
Oh, mate. Jack, thanks for the.
Do you know what channel? Do you know what your channel's called, lad?
Oh, it's down there.
$3,000 a season ticket at Fulham as well.
I mean, 892 Reds TV. We're on the road to 850. We've got lots of content coming up over the next couple of weeks. We've got a new member on our channel now. Obviously, going to be doing a lot more shows with myself and Ricky. Obviously, if you haven't subscribed to us, come and check us out. And yeah, we'll have a lot of chats. Obviously, about Polina, about some other players as well, just for Ricky's delight. So yeah, come and check us out. Obviously, if you want to laugh, bit of a joke, and obviously you want to hear a lot more of myself and Ricky, come and check us out. Jack, you muted, late.
Another stream where Ricky has green screen of a bar in the background, please, lads. What is it? You never know. We could do a whole show around that. Please, may I serve you a DM or something? And we just have Ricky suggestion there.
We got the Polina. We got the.
I'd be banned, mate. I'd be cancelled.
There we go, guys, as well. But tonight wouldn't be possible without, of course, Nigel, Ricky, and Luke, and every single one of you this evening. We've had great interactions in the comments as well. Apologies that I couldn't get to every single one of you as well. Everyone raised very interesting points as always, and this is what we want to do. And going into the season as well, chat, I will be doing post-match reaction shows, but it'd be very much less of me, more of you, really. And I'd love to, even if you don't like getting your face on camera or whatnot, even if you call in audio podcast, let me know your thoughts on the game as well. And we very much will be doing that as well. There we go. Bear with me 1 second. Wolf, I'll get that sorted now before we do head off. Nigel, massive thank you very much for popping on, mate. Really do appreciate it.
Just like to address that point that was there a few minutes ago. No, I'm not going bottle blonde. I'm just going grey.
Oh, he is, and Wiggs is.
So I think I can't remember who it was. I think it was Brian in the comments before we go. They actually asked what your T-shirt was, Nigel.
Rush.
Oh, is it Rush? Is
Rush.
that a? I'm gonna ask. Is that a band? I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
band.
One of the great Canadian rock bands. I saw them live in 2011. The best live band I've ever seen.
Yeah, I have to check it out, mate. I have to send me a couple.
Fabulous band.
There we go. 1 second there. There we go, chance. Wolf, sorted now, mate. Anyway, thank you very much. Ricky, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Have you enjoyed
You're welcome, mate. You're welcome, mate.
All good, lad. And yeah. Now, I do think, make sure, please, everyone, do head over to the 1892 Reds TV anyway. You know where they are, but I think the trio of both Luke, Ricky, and Ben will be absolutely tremendous for this coming season. I really do think it will. I'm really excited to see where the lads do go this year as well. But lads, ladies, everyone watching this evening, massive thank you for being a part of it. Of course, if you are watching on the repeat as well, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Head over to the 1892 Reds TV as well. Let's get the lads to 1,000. Should be already on there, but we'll get them to 1,000 and 10,000 very soon. But chat, your absolute bloody Ricky is a new fave for you, Wiggs, as well. There we go. Big up the chat. Big up every single one of you as well. Big up there, Hannah. Big up Nigel. Big up to every single one of you as well. Good sales. Big up there. If we have some good sales in maybe 2 transfer windows, all others have been poor. Sell good talent for cheap. Journeys, big up, mate. Apologies, we are finishing off here, but I think we more or less agree with you, mate. Very much so. But chat, have a lovely rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will be live tomorrow at a very similar time. Anyway, just keep an eye on the channels and the socials. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on all your social media. And we just hit 10,000 on Facebook, which is absolutely fantastic. So really appreciate everyone. Followers on Facebook. So absolutely bloody legends if you are following on that. But Reds, look after yourselves, lads, ladies, panelists this evening. Massive thank you as always, and we'll see you a bit tomorrow. Ta-ra.